Hello everybody, Rudy Fruity here, and I'm coming at you with a mid-game gear guide. This is going to be me talking about what gear should you be looking to grind for in the story missions of Azur Lane. Now, I'm considering the mid-game to be chapters 5 through 9. It is when you reach chapter 10 is when I consider it to be like the early late game. So yeah, let's go right on to the missions here. So first off, I'm going to go off talking about the chapters individually, from 5 through 9, and highlighting the specific chapter segments that I think are most worth your time to farm. And we'll take a look at why that is. And then at the end, I'll give my gauntlet of the 4 stages specifically I feel are most worth your time to farm and why. Okay, so starting off, we got 5-1. 5-1 is a good stage to farm because it gives you the 127mm dual guns. You're going to see these a lot later on, but yeah, these are a good gun to have. And actually, starting from chapter 5 is when things get pretty good for you to grind because there's a lot of gold gear. And at this point in the game, you're probably just starting out to get gold gear. Going right along with that is 5-2. 5-2 is nice because you get the gold Hellcats. You also get the purple Hellcats. And these quadruple torpedoes are pretty decent as well. Next thing I want to highlight is 5-3. You get these destroyers, the gold destroyers, and then you get the aviation oil tanks, which is pretty nice. These are good for carriers, of course. So yeah, definitely grind there a little bit. And of course, I want to advise you to grind where you are most comfortable grinding. Like if your fleets are able to clear chapter 5 pretty easily, do 5 for now, and then later on, as you level up and be able to just out level the later stages, grind those stages as well. Okay, in 5-4, I didn't really think there was much here worth your time. These quadruple 40mm Bofa gun designs. These are anti-air guns, and personally, I think the Roomba anti-air gun that you'll be seeing later on is probably more worth your time when it comes to anti-air. So I'll talk more about that. But yeah, 5-4, I would say don't really spend too much time grinding there. Okay, that's chapter 5. Let's go to 6. So 6-1. We got these radar designs. These radar designs are decent. They make it less likely for your fleet to get ambushed. And you know, when you're barely starting to work on a stage, a level, you have the potential to get ambushed, which that could make the difference between clearing all the enemies or not. So this is a pretty good way to mitigate that, and also increases the evasion of the ship that is equipped to. You really only need one. So yeah, there's that to keep in mind. Also, you get the purple 100mm AA gun designs. This is AA gun. This is weird because it's not necessarily an AA gun, but it's usually like a main or secondary gun on like a cruiser. But anyways, next thing, 6-2. You get these. I think these are called the Belfast gun. But these are really good guns. Definitely want to get plenty of those. Lots of ships will be needing that. And 6-3. You get these triple foil 6mm main guns. These are good for battleships, specifically the types of battleships that don't require fast firing guns. These are mostly for the battleships that are going to be wanting to deal the most damage with the main firing salvo. Okay. Also, in regards to that, you got these, which is the opposite end. If you want fast firing guns, this is the one to go for. The 410mm mounted gun. These are good for battleships and battle cruisers in that regard. Autoloaders, I use autoloaders, but a lot of people they kind of say there's better things to slot in. But if you have nothing else, autoloaders are pretty decent as well. So keep an eye out for those too. And then 6-4. Chapter 6 has a bunch of bangers, doesn't it? You get the quadruple 610mm torpedo designs, and these are really good manual play torpedoes. So you know, when you're using torpedoes, you mainly want to play manually, this is your standard, your literal gold standard of what to use for torpedo damage. You're going to want to bring your ship right up into the face of the enemy, fire your torpedoes, and then the enemy would just take the full brunt of your torpedo damage. So this is the standard of that. There are other torpedo damage dealing weapons, but this is your gold standard. So always good to have more of those. Also, you get the quintuple purple guns, torpedo guns. These are pretty good as well. Okay, so chapter 6 has a bunch of bangers there for you to get. And now moving right on to chapter 7, we got 7-2 here. Is where we get to the real anti-air goodness. We get the, oops, excuse me. Oh, the steam catapults are pretty good too. But really we want to talk about this, the anti-airs. Yeah, this Roomba is your really good anti-air gun. It's going to be really useful in the later stages because they have a lot of aviation damage dealing planes to you, so you want to mitigate that by shooting them down with these anti-air guns. You also get the purple ones here in 7-2. That's pretty good. And like I said before, you get the steam catapults, and then you get the barracudas, which are pretty decent as well. I mean, it's not the gold barracudas, but purple. Hey, if you're kind of hurting for gear, you know, take what you can get. And then also you get the purple Belfast gun. So yeah, lots of good stuff here in regards to weapon blueprints for beginners anyways. So 7-3. You got, I don't know if this gun has like a funny nickname, but this gun is good. It's also a good cruiser gun. Definitely worth picking up some of those. And then of course you also get the 410, and then you get the twin 100mm, which are good and nice to have. And then finally, in regards to chapter 7, we got 7-4. You get the gold quintuple torpedoes, which is pretty decent. I don't think it's as good as the was it the quadruple from earlier, but these are good. But yeah, these are pretty good if you want to like a standard thing to have with like your auto fleets. That's okay, but when it comes to manual, go for the quadruple. Okay. That's it in regards to chapter 7. So moving right along to chapter 8, we got 8-1, Cold Wind. Get the dual gun design, which I talked about earlier. Definitely want to pick those up. That's mostly it for 8-1. And then 8-2, you get the quadruple 610. So, and a bit of advice, if you're wondering like where would I want to grind more for this specifically, I would say where you benefit more from. Like, okay, these other guns you could get from here are pretty decent. I forget what the list of ships you could get from here are, but I don't think it was anything too crazy. But yeah, if you are at a level where you can actually comfortably grind 8-2, then I would say grind here for the quadruple torpedo, because you'll be getting more experience because it is a more difficult stage. But of course, if you can only grind the earlier stage, grind that one until you can reach 8-2 pretty easily. Okay, and 8-3, Arctic Fury. Get the Belfast gun again. That's about it. And then 8-4. 8-4 has pretty. Chapter 8 has pretty good stuff. Oops. We'll talk about her later. You also get this gun, the twin 23, and then you also get the purple. It's pretty neat. Another thing about 8-4 is you have the chance to drop Maya. She's pretty cool. I don't think she's particularly like outstandingly good, but she is decent as far as like usefulness in battle. But she also looks cool, and she's one of the Takao sisters, so I love her for that. Okay. And then for 9, chapter 9, the only one that I actually really found worth talking about is 9-4, as it drops the gold 100mm twin AA gun design. So yeah, that's a good gun to have. You definitely want to have plenty of those. Although this stage is kind of hard to grind because, you know, you're going against Hellenas. He's pretty tough. Specifically for new players, if you know you're a veteran player, this is probably like nothing to you at this point. But yeah, if you're just barely reaching this area, this is kind of a tough fight. But definitely come back here later on to grind for that gun. Another thing to keep in mind when grinding these stages is that this is the part of the game where like you are getting your purple boxes, and that's good. You want those purple boxes because they're going to drop you purple gear, which is decent. And you remember, like I said, to always build up to the purple boxes. When you get your common and rare boxes, build them up to purple. Okay. So yeah, let me go and talk about, in regards to these chapters, what are the 4 stages that I think are most worth your time? Let's go all the way back. Oops. Too far back to chapter 5. We got 5-2 Santa Cruz Skies. Yeah, I think this is really beneficial because you get the gold Hellcats, you get the purple Hellcats, and then you also get the quadruple torpedoes, which I think that's what makes it pretty decent as well. Okay, moving right along. Next stage I want to say is pretty decent to highlight in regards to equipment is 6-3, because you get the main gun designs, which are good for the just beefy battleships in themselves, and then you get the 410mm mounted guns, which are good for the fast firing battleships. Okay, and then the next stage I want to recommend is 7-2, is of course you get the Roombas, very good anti-air gun. You also get the purple and catapults, Barracudas, and the purple Belfast guns. And honestly though, I would say 7-2 is probably a beginner's best friend in regards to equipment. You're gonna get a lot of good stuff here. And then moving right along, last thing I would recommend would be 8-4, is to get these neat 203mm main guns, both the gold and purple. Okay. Also don't forget your torpedo damage. If I have to recommend anything, it would have to be 8-2 or whatever the other stage was that I said. So that's going to be it for this video in regards to what stages are most notable for equipment specifically. I'm not taking too much account for like XP or plates or ship drops as well. So this is just purely the blueprints that the stages drop in regards to that. So those are the 4 stages I recommend the most. I highlighted some stages that I think are worth your time. Let me know if you have any questions about the game. Let some people know down below if you have any other recommendations for stages to grind for, what equipment to go for. And I hope to see you in the next video. Subscribe if you're new, like if you enjoyed. And yeah, see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Take care.